I'm moving up and down, side to side, roller coaster. Yes, F1 fans, we're finally getting a new content update for this F1 2021 game. For what feels like forever, we've been waiting for like some new tracks to come out. As what of COVID last year and even going on to this year, both sort of seasonal calendars have been messed up, which have meant that some countries have been put onto some red flag flight zones, and that's meant that we haven't been able to see some of our favourite F1 races in the last couple of years due to some restrictions, and that has meant that other racetracks have had to replace them in real life. And finally, after what has felt like forever, EA or Codemasters, whichever one it was, they've finally finished building the models so that we're able to race around these circuits in this new free content update. As you may have seen in the trailer, at the minute we've only got the Portimao circuit to have a look at and get gameplay of, as the other tracks, Imola and Jeddah, that are coming in the coming months in October and November. So stay tuned for more gameplay of that on my channel. And yeah, we're just going to jump straight into a little 5-lap circuit of Portimao to check it out and see how the track flows on this F1 game.
It's time to hit the track then, as we embark upon another round of thrilling Formula One racing at the Algarve International Circuit. Welcome to the Portuguese Grand Prix. 2.9 miles of track at Portimao, featuring 15 turns, 9 to the right and 6 to the left. There's a lot going on here, a lot of elevation changes that will affect the driver's braking and acceleration. Keep an eye out for the DRS zone on the final straight. That will be the setup for a lot of today's overtaking chances. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn 1. So how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
Well, the throttle goes both ways, Crofty. You've got to have the discipline not to try and win the race on the first lap. So always be prepared to lift early and give those around you more space. Trying to be the last of the late breakers with half a dozen cars around you may pay off from time to time, but it's also a great way to lose your front wing.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Hamilton, Esteban Ocon and Norris, Vettel, Stroll, Leclerc and Yuki Tsunoda, Gasly, Fernando Alonso, Carlos Sainz and Ricciardo, Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, George Russell and Nicholas Latifi, Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin.
First of all, it's great to see that they've included that title sequence, as it just makes it feel like a even like fuller content update. And I know a lot of you just skip it at home, and even I do, but yeah, it's just nice to see like some cinematics. But yeah, we go straight into this race. A decent start, but it's not brilliant. Maybe that's just the nerves of trying to find our way through this track as we take it slowly going through this corner, trying not to go in the back of Gasly. That's let Sainz come straight back at us through this triple right-hander. But as everyone bunches up in the braking zone, we're able to just cement this P13 position and get ahead of Sainz going up the crest, as we're able to get the inside line going through on Gasly again. And can we get a jump on Leclerc going into this tight left-hander? Oh, we can just about. It's free wide going into the tight left-hander. Maybe bang tyres with Stroll, as he almost pushes Alonso off the track. Yellow flags pop up for a second, as there was almost a crash between Alonso and Stroll, but I think because it was such a slow corner, they just waved the double yellow flags just for good measure. But as we come down the crest, we're weaving side to side like a roller coaster, as Lando Norris says, coming through onto this right-hander. We tried to make the move down the inside of Alonso, but ultimately he chose a better line and got a much better exit than me. But what I am liking to this track, which is much different about the other tracks, is just at the width of it. Like, you're able to just choose and pick a line. I think it just reminds me a lot of Zandvoort, to be fair, especially with the banking as well. You're just able to pick and like hold a line, which can be much different to someone else's, and you're able to just get that extra bit of overspeed that you can need to just make the move work. Come up to the DRS start finish straight here as we look to make the move on Leclerc, getting in the slipstream, overtake flowing as we go up and over the start finish straight, going down the hill into the braking zone. We have to brake slightly, ever so slightly, because it's not harsh braking zone, and then brake much more harshly for this one as we go back straight up the hill, and we're able to completely move on Leclerc. But in an actual race, I think this is going to be a very essential part for overtaking in this DRS zone, which leads into a harsh braking zone, and the fact that it's after, like straight after the start-finish DRS zone as well, where someone would have overtaken another car. I feel like it's just a recipe for some good overtakes, really, and I'm looking forward to including it into my Team career mode in the next coming seasons. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, as Leclerc makes the move back up after making a stupid error, and that's allowed Gasly to come and attack at us as well. We managed to close them off on that left hand side, which also allows us to get a better run into this corner and allows us to get a better exit. As you can see on the top right hand side as well, we're slowly finding our way into this track as we're setting PBs after PBs. So yeah, even after just 2 laps, Portimao is becoming a really fun racetrack to race around, I'm feeling. I'm getting major Zandvoort vibes. I think just mainly purely because of the banking, and I feel like as well, like as you saw in one of my areas just in the previous lap, you're gonna need to accommodate for that and not rush out of the corners and step on the accelerator too early. Otherwise, you will just start to spin out. I've found that. As we move on to lap 3, however, there are some big gaps starting to form, which you could say is like a sign of a boring track, but in my opinion, just the twists and turns and the bankings and all the different DRS zones, it makes for a great racetrack to race on. And I'm really feeling this circuit, even as we saw in real life on the 2020 Grand Prix. It certainly didn't live down its expectations, and it certainly provides some great racing. I mean, what with Kimi Raikkonen showing us pure best form once again in the Alfa Romeo car, and Perez being spun out again, I think, as well. Yeah, it just provided some great racing, and I really hope I can provide some in my Team career mode as well. Moving on to lap number 5 now, we managed to close those gaps to Leclerc, and he's managed to close the gaps to Alonso as well. So there's a bit of a train going on here as we get a dive bomb on Leclerc going into this harsh braking zone once again, where I said there's going to be loads of overtakes coming. We managed to get the elbows out on this one and get the move done as we can now chase down Alonso. So could we be on for a few points here in our first ever few laps of Portimao? We get the outside line going into that corner. Leclerc had a sneak down the inside, but it just wasn't enough. We're now coming up to this tricky braking zone here, as you sort of got to turn slightly to the right as you're braking before slamming your foot on the accelerator, coming out of the exit of that corner into the next harsh braking zone where some more overtakes could be made, as we get another bit of oversteer there. Like I said before, this circuit's so tricky and so susceptible, and you're just so susceptible to oversteering on the exit of corners, as Max Verstappen wins the Grand Prix here, and we've got to fend off Leclerc from getting us on as we come up to the start-finish straight. We look behind us, oh no, we spun, and we've knocked into Leclerc as we cross the line, and he spins and crashes out of this Grand Prix. I swear that wasn't intentional, it would never be me, and I get driver of the day. Some things never change.
That's it then for the Portuguese.
Yeah, if you did enjoy this little sneak peek of the gameplay at Portimao, then be sure to hit the like button down below. And if you do want more F1 content then, and you want to stay around, then be sure to hit that subscribe button as well.
I know it sounds like an obvious thing to say, Crofty, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams.